Hi, my name is Tremaine Hayho. I am a writer, director, producer, and I'm here with the amazing filmmaker himself. His name is Matthew Rocca. He is an amazing actor, writer, director, producer, and he's making a new movie. It's called Neighborhood Watch. Welcome, Matthew. Welcome.
Wow, thanks so much, Tremaine. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to geek out and have film discussions with you. It's great.
Yeah, yes, likewise, Matt. Likewise. So tell me about the new movie. And by the way, there's a crowdfunding Indiegogo going on right now. Tell me how that's going, tell us about the movie, and then tell us about the crowdfunding.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks, Tremaine. Yeah. So it's been really exciting. The movie's been years in the making, so it's really a really exciting process for myself and for the crew to see how it's evolved. To this point we're at right now, we're currently in the crowdfunding campaign, and we have financiers that are interested in the project. So this is kind of step one to get it through the door. I'm gonna wind the clocks back a few years.
Okay.
To 2007 to be precise.
2007? Oh my gosh! Wow, you're winding it way back. Okay.
Before I met you, my friend. Yeah.
Wow, dang! There was a time where we didn't know each other. That's crazy.
in a galaxy far, far away. 2007, man, it's crazy. That was when the idea for the story kind of first came to mind, and I first put pen to paper and first typed out the original draft of the script. I mean, that was film school, right? So I look back at that draft and I laugh at it now, but that the idea was there, and the characters and the story were kind of there, and eventually I just decided it needed to be made at the right time, and so many factors go into that. Eventually, I ended up making Bullets. For those who don't know, me and Tremaine worked on this movie, Bullets, Fangs, and Dinner at 8, years ago, and so I ended up making that first, and that was the low budget debut to get that started. And now we found ourselves kind of back at Neighborhood Watch all these years later, and since then it's been in this development phase, and it's been a really cool process to see just the little steps that it's taken now to these pretty gigantic steps. And it's a story that deals with a lot of timely issues, a lot of things that we're currently dealing with division in America and race and these other issues, but through the lens of an entertaining genre movie. So it's through the lens of a superhero story. So my hope is that makes some of those darker themes more palatable, more interesting, and exciting to watch on the screen.
Yeah, so what made you, okay, so you went from a vampire movie, which Bullet Fangs Dinner 8 is a lot of fun, you guys got to check it out. It's on Amazon Prime, right? By the way.
Amazon. You guys got to see, it might be finding a home on YouTube, and you guys got to see Tremaine's amazing camera work, and this was a lot of fun.
Sweet, man. Yeah, the church scene and the vampire dungeon club scene.
What a day!
That was an unforgettable day, my friend. I will never forget that day. And R.I.P. Joe is all I have to say about that.
Oh, Joe, man. Yeah, definitely, man.
Poor guy. Okay, yeah. Anyway. Well, we had a actor producer that passed away. Unfortunately, we're sorry, but he was a part of the film, and he added a lot of fun memories. So
yeah, lots of fun memories, lots of stuff, and his movie's out there now too.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Where?
He I don't want to give misinformation. Let me find out, and I'll send it to you. Maybe you could put the link in.
Okay. What was the name of the movie?
It was, I think it ended up there. It had several. I think the final title ended up being was Curse of the Dragon Lady.
Curse of the Dragon Lady. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
We might have to do a.
Movie night?
Movie night, yeah. Zoom movie night. I think we might have to do that. Yeah, heck yeah. So down. Okay, so anyway, guys. So back to this. So you went from there's a lot of first time filmmakers like yourself and like me start off in the horror genre, right? So, but what made you want to make that that transition from a horror movie to more of a superhero social issues type film?
Yeah, it was for me. I've always been really interested in jumping around to different genres. So I've always really been interested in not just being the horror director or this director, but kind of always putting my mark on genres that entertain me, and then trying to infuse them with, my own personal sensibility or message or themes that whatever is on my mind about society or about this or that. So like even with Bullets, it was dealing with like religion and dealing with the institution of religion and society and stuff like that. But it was in the package of this like fun crazy B movie. And with this movie, it's these kids who realize that the KKK is in their neighborhood, and these hate crimes are happening, things that mirror kind of what we're seeing today. But these guys our protagonists are just kids. They're teenagers out of high school, very idealistic, and they grew up idolizing comic books. So they view the Klan as costumed villains, and they think, well, where are all the costumed heroes? So they create their costumes, go out and fight the Klan and fight racism. And that's the fun conceit of the movie. That's the genre piece of the movie, is having fun rooting for these characters as they're going out and tackling an issue that we're dealing with in real life. But of course, reality also rears its head throughout the film, and they realize real life is not a comic book. So to me, that's always been what's interesting, is like taking a genre that I love and then taking those elements and those archetypes and putting it in sort of more of a realistic setting, and then saying, okay, how would those things play out?
Yeah, I like that, because you could easily say, oh, I watched this Netflix movie the other night. I don't know why. It's like called Thunder Force or something. Thunder Force, I think. And it's about two girl best friends that they basically like one's like really smart, one's like dumb, and then the one girl wants to create superpowers because there's super villains in the thing, so she wanted to create her own. So then she does. So they get into fight years later. She's like, oh yeah, I created superpowers, and then the dumb girl like comes in, and played by what's her name? This is a big girl that's in Tammy. She's in Tammy, and Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
She's funny in her own right, but it was really late. I mean, they basically were just like, oh, the concept was like super villains exist and these aliens exist, and they're terrorizing the whole neighborhood by like laser beam blasts and all this stuff. And they're like, okay, well, the woman was like, oh yeah, well, I invented superpowers, so we'll just give ourselves superpowers. One was invisibility, the other one was super strength. So like you could easily say like, oh yeah, the teenagers, find a pill, and then it makes them, give them, now they can fly, and then
fly and shoot laser beams at the Klan or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's like, that'd be a bit ridiculous. And that is the thing about these superhero movies and about a lot of these Marvel movies. I don't know. A lot of the more Marvel movies where they're like, oh, Purple Man Thanos snaps his fingers and half the people die. Oh no, and then it's like, okay, I know these people aren't actually dead, right? So they're like, well,
coming back, right?
Yeah, they're coming back. They're like, well, the only way to do that is to travel through time and stop him from doing that. Well, we can't do that. The next scene, well, we invented time travel, so we're just going to go back in time and then fix everything. So stupid! So dumb! I don't like Marvel. Marvel sucks. I'm sorry. Except for Iron Man. I'm sorry. Okay.
Are you firmly on the side with
DC?
Scorsese on this side?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Yeah. They're fun theme park attractions, right? They're not films. Yeah. They're going to be forgettable in 20 years. They're not going to look back. You're going to see crappy CGI, crappy storytelling. Yes, they made a ton of money, and yes, culturally they had all that stuff. But at the end of the day, they're just trash. They're lazy too. Like they're shot in front of the green screen. The whole freaking movie. They have $500 million to make a movie. They shoot it all on a green screen. Oh, cool. That's great. Really creative. Cool.
That's it's funny you say that because like to me, personally, I understand the mass appeal. I have nothing against Marvel movies at all, and they're really fun. But like to me, the ones the superhero stuff that gets me going is like the stuff where there's like really really deeper characters, and you can tell, like you said, it's not all just filmed in front of a green screen. I mean, when you and I, back in college when The Dark Knight was a new movie relatively, we were always geeking out about that, and like the truck flip being a real thing.
Totally, yeah, and because it seemed like it could really happen. And that's the thing, like, and that's why I love Batman. I love Batman because it seems like, okay, if anyone could actually be a superhero, it would be a billionaire, bachelor who's ripped and and can figure out all these gadgets and actually physically fight crime.
It feels very plausible. Even as crazy as
as crazy as it is, there's still it's still you think like, okay, this could be, and I have the same thing with Iron Man too, pretty much, because like Iron Man seems to be plausible because they deal with terrorists, they deal with another like this inventor entrepreneur that creates the suit, and he's a human guy. He's human, but he has these like the suit. He has the super suit that helps him be it. He isn't just like, he doesn't just get bit by a spider. I mean, Spider-Man's fun. Look, it's fun, pure escapism, right? I'm not going to completely dog on it, but I just feel like adding in that realism, is something that I would like to see more, and that is a fresh take on the superhero movies, because they don't do that. Honestly, they don't do that.
And that's it's funny because when we started, when the idea first came to me all those years ago, it was before superheroes were so popular on the big screen, right? So like when I was a fan of all this stuff, like before it was cool.
Mr. The hipster over here.
Yeah, it was exactly,
but it's true. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, like you did this. Well, yeah, 14 years ago. Like, yeah, I think Iron Man came out, what, 2008, 2008,
right? It was,
I think right after that.
2008, and then Iron Man was later that year, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's a good year. Pretty good year of film.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dark Knight. There's like films before Dark Knight, there's films after Dark Knight.
Yes, exactly. It's like Jesus,
Okay, I wouldn't go that far, Matt. Okay, I wouldn't go this far. Jeez.
Pre-TDK, TDK, TDK.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's funny.
But what was a superhero movie pre-TDK that actually was really ahead of its time was Unbreakable, and that's another one that is a huge source of inspiration for me, with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson, directed by M. Night Shyamalan in his heyday, like that. And that movie was like, a lot of people don't. It's kind of more of like a cult following, that movie, but it's kind of dealing with all the superhero tropes, but it's in this sort of mundane, everyday, kind of normal, realistic setting. And that, when I discovered that movie, I had already been writing the movie, and then I discovered that, and I was like, oh, there's even more of a precedent for this. Like, that's a great source of inspiration to draw from.
Totally, yeah, because it is, okay, yeah, it has the elements of superhero, like he has the super strength, or he can't, die for whatever reason, but like, you do believe it. You believe that it's his story, and he doesn't know why he is the way he is. And then Sam Jackson's character, being how he is, which is really cool. Another movie which is really good, that's kind of similar, that I feel like it's a bit older movie, is The Dead Zone, starring Christopher Walken.
I've been meaning to check that one out.
Dude,
told me about
it's brilliant, man. It is so brilliant because he has, his superpower is he can see he could see like a disaster like in the future. So it's like if he touches someone, he'll get like flashes. He gets in an accident, and then then he gets these like kind of psychic abilities, right?
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and but it's really intense, and you believe it, and it deals with real issues. And he's like, there's real accidents that are happening, and it's something where it's like, well, if you knew, like he gets a vision of these kids hockey game of the ice. He has a vision of the ice breaking and the kids falling in the ice and dying.
Oh.
Right. Like this is his vision. I won't spoil what actually happens, but it's like, so what would you do if you knew that these kids are gonna fall in the ice, right?
And how would you try to prevent it?
How would you try to prevent it, right?
Go about it? Yeah.
And he tries. There's a really intense, the most intense scene. Is he's talking to one of the kids' dads, anyway. So it's like, and the dad's, because it's like it hasn't happened yet. So, does it? It's like something like Minority Report too, where there's the precogs where it's like, yes, this is like science fiction a little bit. It's definitely science fiction. I mean, but there's realistic elements to it where you buy into the story and you buy into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The psychology is real, right? like it makes you feel for the characters, you think about what's happening, and you think, what would I do in that situation? It puts if the physics aren't real, that's okay, right? But it's like the psychology and what it's making you think about. You have questions when you're done watching it and thinking about yourself in that situation.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it tackles real issues in a fictional way, but there's like that kind of I love that blend of like fiction and nonfiction.
Yeah, me too. I actually we shot the as you know, the trailer for this movie. So what we did, for those who don't know, is we shot the trailer before shooting the film as a way to promote, to get people excited, to post that on our Indiegogo campaign and show that to the financiers as well, and anyone who's interested in being part of the film, to say, okay, if you like this style and what you can tell about the story and the characters from the trailer, then then you'd like to hopefully be on board for this ride and help us turn it into the feature.
Yeah, guys. So by the way, if you haven't seen the Indiegogo campaign, we have a link in the description. Check it out. Yeah. Contribute if you can. Come on, pitch in a little bit. So, make some films, make this happen. And you can check out the trailer. And if there's something that could be up your alley, I might have some people that have seen Rideshare that maybe they contributed to the Kickstarter. If you like Rideshare, you'll like this movie. Yeah. So hopefully, hopefully that can get you. So tell me we can talk a little bit more about the nitty gritty. So what's your goal for Indiegogo, and what are you looking to accomplish with this film, with this money that you're raising right now?
Yeah. So the goal with Indiegogo is right now we're raising 10,000, and we are using that 10,000, part of that 10,000 as our startup funds for really hiring the people at the companies that are looking at us and interested, because we have these two companies that have expressed interest, and they projected the film budget, the feature budget proper, to be at about 10 million. Wow. And so from 10,000 to 10 million, wow. That's just a projection. We don't know. We'll see what happens. But that's just from reading the script. They thought it could be a film that could be made in that budget range. And so the idea is, part of that, the startup funds will then be paid to the people who are going to be part of our team from those companies, that will then package the movie in a professional way, recommend any script suggestions that they might have, if there are any. Personally, I don't think there will be many at all. But we might have some.
This is perfect. It's a masterpiece. Flawless. Yeah.
But so they're going to make all those suggestions. They're going to put together an itemized budget of the whole thing, and then they're going to take the script and the package and everything, and bring that to people like Netflix, people like Amazon, start getting all the the people who might be interested in distribution, those things, So, we can then have that settled, and then the company would be able to say, okay, well, we see that there's all this interest in streaming or whatever it might be from film festivals, distributors. Cool. We love your script. Now we're going to put down the money to make it happen.
Sweet. Wow, awesome, man. So walk us through a couple of the prizes, a couple of rewards. Like if you invest, X amount, what are you going to be getting? What kind of, yeah. And how did you come up with the rewards too? So for any filmmakers out there, maybe give them some tips, and then also for people that are audience members, tell us about the rewards and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I'm going to pull it up right now.
Yeah,
because we have a lot of rewards. So, that's a great question. So, for those out there who are thinking of making your own Indiegogo or your own crowdfunding campaign, the reward system is really, really great because it gets people excited and it gives them something back for what they're putting into it, right? And so it's a way for people to really be a part of the campaign rather than just putting money in. They actually are part of it, which is what everyone I think loves, is being part of a movie. And so we started out at 25, which is a shout out on social media, just thanking anyone who donates, who contributes. At $100, you're credited in the film under our special thank you in the credits. So 100 gets you in the credits like that. Then 250, we have, in addition to the credits, a special contributor credit. We then also start to include our prizes, right? So we've got a special custom-made Neighborhood Watch T-shirt, which is with original art by our art designer. Consideration to be an extra in the film. And then, of course, the other credits that go along with it and the shout out. At 500, when you make that leap to 500, in addition to all that stuff, you also have exclusive behind the scenes content. So you get to see things that other people aren't going to see on social media, right? You get to see actual behind the scenes, what's happening on the set, some video footage. We have we're hoping to shoot the whole thing on film, as I've talked to you about. So we have dailies that come back, and we would have a link to some of that footage. So
wow,
really exclusive stuff that no one else but people who contribute that level will get to see that stuff. And so that really will be a lot of fun. And there's also exclusive digital art, digital posters. Finally, we jump forward to 1,000. And in addition to all of that cool stuff, you also are invited for a full day of filming. So you're invited to be on the set for one of our shooting days. And then you can actually not just have behind the scenes access via video, but you're actually able to be there in person and get to see some of the actors and the action actually unfold right there in front of you. And so that's a great one for people who really love being part of making movies, and people who would love to be on. Let's say you are a filmmaker that has done a lot of your own films, right? But maybe they were smaller budget, like what we did with Bullets. This is a great opportunity. Then if you're like, hey, I would like to be on $1 million, $10 million set and up my game and learn what people at that level are doing, that's a great experience for people who are really interested in the side of filmmaking and actually seeing it unfold in person. So you get that in-person magic that is, that is pretty fun.
So it's all about that in-person magic. It's what it's all about. It's what it's all about. So it's all about. No, totally.
You also get invited to a private movie screening, so it's a pretty amazing package there.
Oh, sweet. Maybe the premiere? Would it be the premiere?
It most certainly could be the premiere.
Yeah, there we go.
The grand premiere.
There we go. Yeah, heck yeah.
Or maybe the rough cut before we even premiere.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that personal access.
Yeah. So you get that great screening there. Then okay, we got just a few benefits left. If you're really generous at $5,000, in addition to all of that stuff, you also instead of 1 day on set, you get two filming days on set, and you get a specialized thank you package from the director himself.
Wow.
Actual storyboards and actual art and things from the film. Like, so that's all in the specialized thank you package, and that'll be worth a lot of money one day. So
yeah, there we go. Yeah, totally.
and then finally, at 10,000, you get all of the same things, and in addition to 3 days on the set rather than two, you get a DVD and Blu-ray. You get
well, you should get anyone 100 up should get a DVD Blu-ray, right? Like,
well, yes.
Yeah, okay. Or at least a link to watch the movie. I mean, I'm just saying, if you're gonna give even $50, like 50, up, or like first access or something, because they're gonna be paying like $10 to watch it, right, or $20 to watch it, right? So
yeah, of course, absolutely, yeah.
Maybe.
I think that I think definitely everybody will get a digital streamer.
The digital, okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they're the first to see it. They'll be the first to see it digitally. Exactly. That's fair.
Exactly.
Yeah, Blu-ray DVDs is at least in my. It's been a nightmare for me. We won't talk about me anyway, but like I think at your level, yeah, I think at your level, because you'll be working with like some companies that do just that. So I think that you guys will be fine. You'll be awesome.
But I remember when we did Bullets, and that was such a nightmare doing that, like putting the Blu-ray together. It was like without a real company to do it. That was nerve-wracking. I was working at a little sales shop called Halloween Express, and I kept dialing up my my guy who was working on the Blu-ray, and it's like, oh, it's slowing down. Oh, something's going wrong. The computer's shutting down.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, and of course there's no like. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. We'll get into it. We won't get into it. It's all about this. So anyway, okay, yeah, let's hear more.
Okay, so almost done here. So all of that stuff, DVD, Blu-ray, 3 days on the set, private movie screening, specialized thank you package, comp screening tickets, co-executive producer credit for 10,000. So that's pretty huge. To co-executive producer, and finally you get 25,000 is the or anything 25,000 or higher, obviously. All of those things, in addition to being credited as executive producer in the film.
Wow. There you go. Boom. Awesome. And so where are you at right now? And then how much time do we have left?
Yeah, so we are right now we're at 3,125, which is it's pretty good. We're at the 2 weeks right now. So it's been a good steady flow. On the very first day, we actually did a little trailer premiere, and invited anyone who wanted to come check it out. Right after seeing that trailer, people were so excited and so moved by just the trailer alone that first night we got, I think it was like 1,100. Just
wow,
so excited, and they wanted to spread the word. They started reposting, and that's always so helpful. Like if you can't contribute, but you really like the project and you want to help in some way, reposting.
Reposting, guys, like sharing, because it doesn't cost anything. If you can't afford it, tough times, whatever. Your stimulus check hasn't come in yet. It's okay. Just share it, and you never know, because one of your friends could be a major contributor to this film. And definitely, if you have a lot of people that like film or want to be a part of independent cinema and original creations, someone like Matthew doing this is it's really cool, and it's really awesome, and it's so crazy because you never know the people out there that come out and support you for your film. Yeah, that is so cool. So yeah, let's get it to 10,000, you guys. Let's get it to 10 or beyond. If
we go beyond, that would be incredible as well. I mean, the what's exciting too is that we have this like I said, the package with the company and those different things. But once we get beyond that, then we can start thinking of the company stuff is great too, right? But that's business stuff. But when we get beyond business stuff, we can start thinking of the cool, fun, creative stuff, right? Like actual film stock and actual processing and development and all those other kind of exciting things too that we can start fun.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Okay. So let's say, you know, you have a successful Indiegogo campaign. Let's say, you know, you're working with this company. Let's say you get $10 million. Say you get $10 million. Okay. Who are your ideal actors to play these roles?
That's really great. That's a really great question. Wow, that's great. Well, okay. So first of all, I'll put a caveat on that, and by saying that the incredible actors who were in the trailer were they were such an amazing team together. It felt like watching these characters that have been floating around in my head for so many years actually coming to life, and really seeing the camaraderie they had together as those characters was just amazing. Like that there's this moment in the trailer, for those who haven't seen it, go check it out. There's this moment where they're walking up a hill, they're ready to go and fight the KKK, and they had this beautiful moment where they asked me the classic, you know, what's our motivation kind of thing, and all I had to say was like, this is your moment where you transform from a teenager into a superhero, and it's all in the way you carry yourself. It's all in your attitude. You are not thinking about the fact that this is really dangerous. You're just thinking, the Klan is doing these things, we got to stop them. And they just came to life, and they embodied those characters. And I think you can see in those shots as they're walking up the hill, and they're silhouetted, that backlit, it looks so beautiful. Shout out to my cinematographer on the trailer, Gary Long, did such a great job with that.
Shout out Gary Long. Shout out Gary Long.
Amazing. Shooting on film. It's just,
wow. Film.
Super 16, man. And he knew exactly how to light that on those guys too. Like we were all a little bit stressed, wanting to make sure we got that beautiful light. And we kept saying, hey, like, you know, my AD Miko kept saying, hey, like,
we need to get the shot.
We gotta go. And he just be super calm and just super chill, and you know, and just you know, I told you he had this very chill voice. Just, no, we gotta wait for the right lighting. We have to wait. It's great, you know. But yeah. So anyway, my point is, the actors from the trailer, these guys would be top pick in terms of just knowing how wonderfully we work together, how amazing their performances are. That being said, I don't. It's a lot of it is completely, a lot of the casting elements, and those elements are also business elements, and a lot of those things are at the discretion in some ways of the people putting down the money. So in some cases, it could be the very real possibility that they say, hey, we really love this story, we love these actors in the trailer, but we need to get, you know, so and so to bring in this many audience members, right? We need to get this star to put him in this role or whatever. And if that's the case, you know, then I've got a whole list of stars that could be really cool. But that's a whole.
Okay, so you're not going to answer my questions.
Okay. So, I will answer your question. Hold on. Let me. I just have so many in my head. Let me pull it out really quick.
And it doesn't just have to be the kids too, because there's the like mom characters, there's professor characters, there's, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah. Okay, so just going with that at the very beginning, let's. It's fun to talk about the professor because he's such a no spoilers, but he's just a really eccentric, funny, crazy character, and he's a lot of fun. So Okay, so do you know David Hyde Pierce?
No, I don't. Not
Frasier.
Yes.
The brother, the very
the brother. Oh yeah. Of course, yeah.
I was like, wouldn't it be so interesting to cast an actor like that who's known for like broad sitcom comedy, but you can also tell in his like, if you really watch the show Frasier, you can also tell he's very capable of nuance and doing the more dramatic stuff. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to cast that guy as like the mentor figure, where at first you're kind of like, oh wait, who's this goofy funny guy, but then you see he's actually a very serious actor as well, and he's able to be, you know, he's able to.
So as the professor or the
as the professor,
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Yeah, wow, that'd be cool.
Yeah, wow. He could be great, and really someone a lot of people don't think of for the role. And then William Fincher has always been a big one. Do you know that guy? Okay, wait. Look, now I think you know it right now.
Okay.
You have any idea who you're stealing from? You and your friends are dead.
Oh yeah, from The Dark Knight. Yeah. He's like, yeah, he's on the Joker's. Oh yes.
What do you believe in?
He's with the bank guy.
Yep.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're like, those are those guys where like I know his face. He's been in a million things, right?
Yep.
But it's like I don't necessarily know his name.
Always, it's like, wait,
yeah.
He's great. He's in that show Prison Break. He's like, there's so many layers to what he can pull off, and
wow,
he's an incredible actor. So he would be great. And he always kind of looks like the physical kind of look I had in my head when writing him. And then there's so many choices. There's so many exciting ones. I know. For the Grand Giant, the KKK leader, my producer and I were banding about the idea of Tom Hardy, because we were like,
ooh, oh my gosh, wow, that would be epic. Oh boy.
And he's such an epic, prolific actor. But if you really think the character of the Grand Giant in the movie, he's the leader of the Klan. He's only in a couple scenes, but those scenes really, really count. And he's the symbol of the villain in the story, and we don't get to know him that well. But we just get these little glimpses of who he is and this mystery of the character. So a guy like, if we were like, oh well, we can afford Tom Hardy for 2 days,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's really cool. Okay.
Again, that's another one of those instances where it always feels weird to think of the star actors in these roles, when I've also seen them inhabited so brilliantly by the actors in the trailer. Jack DeFino, a shout out to him too. He was so great as the Grand Giant, and in the trailer you only see this one shot of him where he's like lifting up his arms.
Oh yeah.
But we did actually multiple shots with him, where we did some stuff at night and we did some other stuff, and it just ended up being that one shot that wound up in there. But he really embodied the character really well, and we even did like an interview with him, and he wasn't breaking character. He was just talking as the giant. It was great. It was really creepy.
Oh my gosh.
He's the nicest guy in real life. He's the nicest guy, but he was just staying. And then when he's done with the shoot, he was like back to being just good old Jack, listening to the Super Bowl. It was on the day of the Super Bowl when we filmed. He's just listening to the Super Bowl on the radio.
Yeah, that's right. You shot during the Super Bowl. That's funny. That's classic. That's classic Matt right there.
That's a very me move. I know.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it. Oh, what's going on? Oh, okay. Well, who's playing?
Well, yeah, I think at one point he tried to talk to me about the players and stuff, and then I just politely excused myself and I gotta go check on this thing.
Yeah. Well, no, it's funny, man. It's like when I used to when I was in high school, I followed sports a bit, but not as much anymore. And I really don't care. I did watch the Super Bowl this year, but I mean, if there was a film shoot that I had to be on, I probably would have done that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for that. There are people out there that don't really care about the Super Bowl.
Well, the actors were and the crew were such troopers, because I'm sure plenty of them were much more interested in the Super Bowl than I was. But they all made it on time. They did their thing. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Actually, that moment when they're walking up the hill too, it was they were listening when Jack was listening to the Super Bowl at that moment, and then we were getting ready for that shot, and I told Jack hey man, do you mind turning it off, because this is like a religious experience. Nice. He was like, sure.
Nice. That's good. He's like a diehard Buccaneers fan. He's been waiting for them to win.
I know, he's great.
No, that's funny, man. No, I mean, dude, you got to do what you got to do. This is film. I mean, you got to work in every day. Did you shoot MOS on that trailer? Because you didn't really have. Did you have dialogue in the trailer?
No. No, actually, what we did was
Did voiceover.
We shot we had nothing with dialogue. We did. Actually, that goes back to a point I strayed from earlier, which was that when you talked about reality and fiction combining, that was the idea that really, I think, kind of pushed the trailer to that next level. Was this idea my producer Matt Stoner he and I discussed, and we came up with this kind of idea of what if newscasters were introduced in the trailer, and then I used that as a motif throughout the first section where they're basically narrating the story. And it's all because they're real news.
I was gonna say, like, were those real news? Yeah, like, because that, yeah.
That's what makes it so frightening and relevant, because these are, actual newscasters talking about Klan flyers being found in homes and nice suburbs and stuff like that. And we thought that's really just the perfect way to show that this is really happening, and yet we're using fiction to comment on it and to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that with my first trailer for Rideshare, we use a lot of just audio voiceover from news, from like actual news sources.
It was actual news for you.
Yeah, all actual news sources. Yeah. So that's why it's like something like that. It's tough to fake because like everyone already knows. If you're just gonna film your own news thing with like an actor, it's. I mean, you can do it and make it look real, but I mean, nothing's. I don't know. It's just something. It's just authentic about how it is.
It's true, and I remember I had a discussion with my buddy Vinny Pompo a while ago, just about how actors can do so many things. Right? Actors are so talented. There's so much they can do, but it's really hard to do the newscaster. The cadence of their voice.
Yeah, no, it really is. It is. Yeah. I think also, I mean, it also just becomes from being a newscaster because they've been doing it for years, and the way they talk, the way they, their mannerisms are, like that's more challenging, more difficult to fake, I think, or to just put on. Yeah.
They've been on that rhythm. They've been in that rhythm of speaking in that pattern for so long.
It's always funny. It's like there was like, yes, Bob, we're out here, and like we're out here on the field, and it's like, so why do you talk like just talk normal for a second, like can you guys talk normal?
Wouldn't that be interesting? A news station where they just talk like we're talking right now?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be amazing, because it's just like, because no one talks like that in real life. Like, it's like if your wife or husband is like talking like that. That could get old real quick. I can see.
That's a movie in and of itself. A bunch of characters who talk like newscasters, but they're not newscasters.
Well, this just in, Bob. There's always the one with the nasally voice. Yes. Susan Summers out here in the field. Like, why are you talking like? You don't talk like this. As soon as it's cut, it's like, okay, did we cut? Did we cut like they're normal?
Yeah, it's hilarious. I've actually, I've done some work on, just like I taught at a school where we did like newscasting stuff, and it gave me a whole other appreciation for, even though it was just for the school broadcast, it gave me a whole other appreciation for like all of the little details of what goes into that too, like speaking in that certain way, and like the technical details and having your mic on at the right, like just
oh wow,
live like that. It was a technical nightmare. It was nuts, but those kids were great. Like they really were very professional.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, it is. It's a skill and a craft, I guess. So yeah, I'm trying to think of more stuff for this movie. So when you have this process, I mean, what I kind of admire about you is that like you're okay with like kind of a story marinating and it taking a bit of time and it taking years and years before what is it about, because I think you're more like you're very choosy, I guess, with what you want to do, what you can do,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
what makes you have all that kind of patience?
Well, I think that, first I gotta say, I also admire anyone who can, like do what you did with rideshare, which was have an idea and it not take 10 years to make. Go out and do that fucking thing. That's great. Like that's awesome. And my buddy Brian Butler, shout out to him. You know him from Bullet.
Yeah, shout out Brian.
He's great. Like in the last couple of years, he did just like I think it was two feature. He shot I think he did 2 feature films or 3. One of them's coming out like just very, very low budget. He just churned them out super quick, and they're great stuff too. Like they're really well done. So I really love and admire when people can do that. I think with this one, it was part of why it's taken so long actually is because we wanted the right amount of financing and clout because we feel that the story is very important, and my team and I really believe in kind of the themes and the questions that we're trying to ask the audience. So we felt like it was very important to try to get those things in order before we told the story. But interestingly, part of that evolution was, I come from a background of having done bullets at like a $7,000, level, right? Just do it yourself, pick up the camera and go and get the locations for free and all that stuff. And my producer, Matt Stoner, comes from more of like the business side of things. And he's had more experience with the financiers and with how that world works. So we kind of balance each other in a good way in that way. Like he, understands that world, and he kept, I had told him a couple of years ago when he jumped on board for this, I said, hey, me and the other co-producer Jaron Hall, we think we could shoot this thing for 50,000. Like the script is written in such a way where there's only a couple of action set pieces and everything else is pretty character driven, and so only a few locations. So we're like, we think we could pull that off. And Matt kept pushing and saying, I think that we could get it more of the budget it deserves to have the story that we want to tell, and to have the kind of actors that we want and the kind of technical quality that we want. And for the last couple of years, as we worked on that together, it's been a daunting process, and it's been a thing where I've felt like, gee, you know what, I wish I could. I kind of just feel like going out and making this thing, and doing like the great work like Tremaine did with rideshare, just get out there and do it. And I really felt that way. But then I was very happy that that Matt did stick to his guns with that, because now we're in a really exciting position where people who make those kind of deals are really excited by the work, which is kind of surreal and amazing.
Yeah, that is really cool. No, that is very admirable too, because it's like I get a bit impatient, like, okay, no, I just want to freaking do this thing, but at the same time, it's worth doing it right. Plus, it is such a subject matter that you don't want to tackle it lightly. You don't want to take it lightly. You don't want to just and we have to kind of graduate at some point. It's like you and I have always been like the kid with the camera, filming nonsense in our backyard of us being, or every character in the movie, the writer, the director, and actor. And, it's like at some point you do have to really like kind of say, okay, what if I really actually had a actual big budget, bigger budget. And actually by Hollywood standards, that's still a very low budget film.
Right? It really is. It really is. It's really interesting. I've been learning more and more about like looking at budget and looking at what some of our favorite films that we grew up loving. What was the budget back then for some of those films, and for indie films back then, and what is it now, and just how much the budgets in Hollywood have ballooned. Like going to our Marvel discussion, right? Like a lot of that has to do with those big movies being the most important thing on the marquee, and that's what draws people. So something like 10 million compared to what those movies are is nickels and dimes. But at the same time, there's a certain sweet spot to a number like in the 5 to 10 million range that it's a sizable enough portion where it can hopefully escape just being an under the radar indie movie.
Yeah, and thing is, you'll have to get a name actor,
Exactly.
you'll be able to, and once you do, then you put yourself in a different echelon of everything else, and then that's great. I mean, you wouldn't have to, but I mean, you can. That's kind of the reason to do it. And why not? A lot of name actors are good for a reason. They get hired for a reason because they're good at what they do. And they help sell a movie, which is what people want to do. You want people to watch your movie, right? Like, and because it's like the less money, the less chance you have. Less stars you have. The less. It's just that sliding scale. So that's really cool that you're going for it. And at the end of the day, film is forever, and once you make it, you go 20 years down the line, you look back and like, yeah, see, look, I did it, and I did it the right way, and I really
yeah, you can look at that and really feel proud of all the choices that were made to get there. And and if it's shot on film, you literally have an actual physical thing 20 years later that'll still exist.
Yeah, true. Yeah, totally. Yeah, keep that preserved. Keep that in the can, preserved somewhere so it doesn't catch fire or anything like that.
Glorious Bastards ending.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, Glorious Bastards ending in the theater. Yeah. Okay, let's play a fun game. So you're talking to a financier, and they say, I have $5 million ready to give you. Okay, right? Yeah, there you go.
Let's go.
But I want to cast my niece in the movie, and she's gonna be the star. Actually, she's gonna be the star.
No. Oh no!
Wait, I have the check right here. If the check's written to your production company, it's $5 million. Okay, but my niece, she hasn't acted before, but she was in a school play in kindergarten when, she's a little, little homely, but I think she really has potential. How do you
what do I do, right?
What do you do?
What do I do? Well, I think that, and this goes back to a discussion you and I were having the other night, actually, about sticking to your guns and sticking to your artistic integrity, right? So it would have to come down to a decision of that. I think it would have to be, do I take the money and compromise the character or the story? And I would say if that's the case, I mean, look, I'd give everyone a chance. Like I would say, let me have her audition.
Right. Yeah.
Let me have her. Maybe she's the next, whatever. Maybe she's
Barbara Streisand.
Yeah,
I don't know. Barbara. Sandra Bullock. I don't know. No.
You never know. Maybe that's.
Yeah, that's true. You never know. So you give her a chance. Okay. Let's say you give her a chance and she's terrible. You give her a chance, she's awful.
Give her a chance, she's awful. Then I would have to turn it down. I would just have to say, look, I really appreciate that she wants to be a part of it. If she would like to be, in the film, there's other opportunities, but the character needs to be.
Because there's classrooms. Maybe she could be in the back, one of the students in the classroom or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
College,
Yeah.
College kid, but if it's not right for the character, that's really what it all comes down to. I mean, even if it was the opposite of that, if it was a big star, but he or she did not fit the character, I have to do the same thing. Like if it was, I don't know if it was, well, I couldn't, I was going to say Robert De Niro, but I'd almost always want to say yes to Robert De Niro.
Yeah, you kind of would have to be. He could probably be a professor, one of the, either professor or maybe the Grand Wizard. I don't know. That would be interesting. But I feel like he's kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he.
The Grand Wizard.
That would be interesting.
That'd be great.
I feel like you could do it. I mean, because he's been in a lot of stuff as of late. That you never know.
Maybe he could. If he was a Klan member, he could also reprise his Max Cady voice from Cape Fear.
Yeah.
I am like God, and God is like me.
That would be amazing. That would actually be great.
That'd be
Dude,
so good.
well, and actually that's another approach you could do is you could approach these big actors, send it to their agent and be like, hey, I'm thinking of De Niro as this character, right? De Niro reads the script, or his readers or whoever reads the script, they like it. And then that means if you get a name attached, then that means you get the money too.
Exactly, which is that's also part of the whole the interesting aspect of the which the chicken or the egg thing, right? Like which ones you, and it's like a lot of it comes down to first there's distributors, foreign rights, like all these different things, people who might be interested, and then it's like, okay, now it's getting word of mouth. Now actors are starting to get interested and agents are looking at this. And then people are actually putting down money, like the financiers are actually putting down money. And then they see that so-and-so is interested. Then they're like, oh, well, maybe we could raise that budget to accommodate having so-and-so on here, right?
Dude, yeah.
Robert De Niro is the Grand Giant. Like,
yeah. Have you heard of the Willy's Wonderland? The new Nick Cage movie. So it's new Nicolas. Oh, dude. Okay. So it's, oh my gosh. Yeah. So it's called Willy's Wonderland. It's basically it's based on a Chuck E. Cheese type place that is like with all the like cartoon animatronic animals and stuff. It's basically it's a haunted Chuck E. Cheese that anyone that works there, they somehow doesn't survive the night or whatever.
Yeah.
And he. Nick Cage plays the silent. He's the lead guy. He's the main character. He doesn't say a word in the movie. What? He doesn't say a single word the entire movie. Dialogue? Zero dialogue. The whole movie. Yeah, but he's like this complete badass, and he gets, his car breaks down, right? They're like, oh, you got to fix your car, but they're like, oh yeah, we don't take card, we only take cash. And then the ATM's broken down or whatever, and so they're like, well, you could work for us, for a night and pay off your car, right? And so so that's like the premise. That's not a spoiler. That's like the first.
This is on Netflix, or
it's on it's on Prime. I think you have to pay to stream it. But dude,
I'm totally gonna watch this.
Okay, sweet, dude. Yeah,
this is great.
But the story behind this movie is the writer of the film wrote it specifically for Nick Cage, and he goes, "What if Nick Cage didn't say a single word the entire time?
Whoa.
And what if he, and he, what if he like is locked in a haunted Chuck E. Cheese type place and is this complete badass? Like he wrote for him in mind. Okay, so he wrote the script, sent him the script on a Thursday, I think. A Thursday?
Wow.
By Monday, Nick Cage, he sent it to Nick Cage's people. By Monday, he got a message from Nick Cage saying, I read the script, I love it, I'm down.
What? No way.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? And then from there, Nick Cage was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get you financing. We'll finance your, we'll get you financing for the movie."
Whoa.
So he got the star there, and he got financing like that.
That's incredible. And this is a newer film, right?
Brand new, just came out. A few weeks ago.
That's so inspiring to hear that it can still work that way, because like you hear so many things where it's like, oh, the agent, it's taking so long and blah blah blah. Like it's so cool and refreshing to hear that it can still go that old-fashioned way, the way that it was in the in like the 90s when like Harvey Keitel could get Reservoir Dogs made for Quentin Tarantino. It's like that can still exist.
It can still exist, man. And so that could be an approach for this film. If you have a specific big actor in mind, maybe if you think Tom Hardy, whatever, could be interested, you never know, man. Send this freaking script to Tom Hardy and his people, his representatives, and You never know. What's the worst you can say is no, right?
Exactly. And no, that's totally true. And I think that's where also, having company like packaging and stuff is really helpful, because then it's not just, oh, it's coming from some random writer in San Diego who knows this person. It's like, oh, it has, this company behind it, and you see the polish.
Yeah, you have a team, you have a company behind it, you've got everyone, and yeah, man, yeah. So it's possible. Crazier things have happened. That's all I'm saying. Actually, a similar thing happened with Drew Barrymore and Donnie Darko.
Oh,
so Donnie Darko, yeah. So Donnie Darko, the director Richard, what's his name? Richard Kelly, the writer director Richard Kelly wanted to make the movie, and I think they had like $300,000, but they needed a bit more. They needed a few million to make it, and they sent it to Drew Barrymore's people, and Drew Barrymore like read it and loved it. She got the financing for the full financing for the movie.
Wow.
And she's like, oh, I'd love to play the part of the teacher, which she did. She did really well. And yeah, because before they were talking about making it for less money, trying to compromise his vision. He didn't want to compromise his vision, Richard Kelly. And so glad he didn't, because, it's such a unique movie that.
Yeah. It's such a surreal, crazy, it's so singular to an artist with the vision. It's not made in a boardroom. It's like, this is crazy.
Yeah. And especially with something like that needed a budget, because it's got all the music, especially like the iconic music, and then of course they had the actors and stuff, and getting a character like Patrick Swayze to play Jim Cunningham, which I love that character.
Yeah.
That character, I love characters like that.
I need to rewatch this. It's been such a long time. I would just remember it was such a great, twisted, crazy movie. I need to rewatch it though. It's been a while. I always hear when I hear Mad World, of course, think of that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Then they have that rendition, dude. Yeah, man, I love that movie. I watch it once a year, typically around Halloween. I love. Yeah.
I could see how that would be like the perfect Halloween time.
Yeah, it really is, man. Yeah, that movie, I love that movie. I love just kind of escaping into that world of that film.
Wow, that's inspiring, and that's so cool that Drew Barrymore really is the one who got that ball rolling on that extra.
And totally. I mean, dude, look, the stars have the star power. So it's like with the star, it is like the chicken or egg. But if you don't, if the star says yes, then that means you can go to the investors. Even if they don't bring their people on, you get a what's it called, a letter of intent, right? Saying De Niro or Tom Hardy says yes to the film. Okay, let's talk to some investors. I have a letter of intent that Tom Hardy's down, and then who's not going to jump under that movie? You know what I mean? Even just people that have the money that want to see the movie get made because they care about the subject matter.
Exactly. And then that just gets everyone even more excited, because they're like, oh, we get to work with this person, and then this person gets to shine a light on what we're trying to do. Like, more people are going to come see it because this person is in it, which is a great win-win for everyone. And actually, the company that we're talking to, it's funny, I was just thinking of this when we were talking about De Niro, that they actually just financed a movie that De Niro's in that's coming out. So I was super excited to see it. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Dude, I can see it happening, man. I can see that happening. Dude, De Niro too. And think about it. And think about it this way, dude. De Niro is going to be in any movie anyway, right? He's going to be in any whatever Hollywood movie comes out, whatever.
Yeah.
He might as well be in one of your movies, right?
He might as well be, because he's one of the top reasons I got into filmmaking and acting. It was really like watching what he did in actually that movie that I was quoting in Cape Fear. I was already obsessed with being an actor, but watching that movie, I became obsessed with the real method, the real practice and training and drive that goes into being an actor, and what does it mean to be a method actor. And I watched all the stuff about how he gained all that muscle and did all this stuff and did the Southern accent and everything to live that character. And then from watching all those making of documentaries, then I saw Scorsese, and he talked about filming it and what the angles meant to him, and the colors and the light and what all this stuff meant. And that was really when I was like, oh, that's what it is to be like a director. Like, I want to keep acting like De Niro here, but now I also really want to do this too. And that was that kind of transformative thing.
Wow,
So
that is
then full circle and work with him would be.
Yeah, dude. Well, how old were you at the time when you had that?
I was. It's pretty funny. I was in 7th grade watching a movie about convicted ex-con serial rapists going and wreaking havoc on a family and all this stuff. And I guess that tells you a lot about my twisted filmmaking.
Well, I mean, I was watching Alfred Hitchcock movies, which were, like Psycho at age like 7 or 8,
Oh yeah, Psycho, man. I was in 4th grade. I was terrified.
You're like, I was in the room when I watched Psycho first. You're like I watched it as a baby.
I still, when it's seeing it at such a young age, when I go to a hotel or I'm still scared. Like, I still have that in the back of my head. I'm like, oh, what if Norman comes in while I'm showering?
Yeah, dude, I know. Like a lot of times, if I'm at a hotel, if it's just me, I keep the door open just because, like, because then they're not. Because then the door, yeah. So,
same. And I don't like when it's drapes.
Oh yeah, no, those drapes suck anyway. By the way, because they like stick to you and they're like, get off of me. It's like the stupid. You're like trying to push it away and they're just like sticking to you like glue.
They're terrible.
They're
Well, you know what? It's funny because I actually to just Hitchcock's enduring power like that. I just showed that not that scene obviously, but I showed just the dialogue scene between him and Janet Leigh in the parlor. Nothing inappropriate happens there. It's just the creepy moment, of when they're talking together, and it seems nice at first, and then it gets intense and kind of weird. And I show that to my drama students to teach them about blocking and about how just little subtle movements in an actor can make the scene come to life when it could just be a boring dialogue scene. And and it was so cool because they had none of them had ever seen it, of course.
Wow,
none of them. They didn't know who Hitchcock was, any of that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I was like, this is what I'm here for.
I'm rolling over in Hitchcock's grave for him right now.
Same here.
So wait, how old are your students?
In high school.
High school. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, which grade? All of the grades, or?
It's a mix. This class was like 9th through 10th. And I know it's crazy. But it goes to show, like, they knew nothing about the movie going in. I just told them it's a classic, it's a masterpiece. This director you should all know about, blah blah blah. And I said, I'm not going to show you anything scary or violent, because you're not allowed to do that, otherwise I would. So I'm like,
otherwise you'd be showing them Cape Fear, Goodfellas,
Pulp Fiction,
Casino, Pulp, yeah.
I'm just going to show you this dialogue, and they were on the edge of their seat. They were really getting into it, and they were writing in the chat and saying like, oh, that moment when like he moves up and into the frame, and well, they didn't say frame, but they're like, when he moves up to the camera, and those little things, like, they were really getting it and really like grasping and feeling who the characters were, and without knowing, all of us know the spoiler twist, but these kids of course don't, right? And without knowing it, one of the kids was like, maybe he's the one who needs to be in an institution, not his mother.
Whoa, nice. This good guy. Yeah, good guy. Wow. Wow. That does give me hope. I mean, but that again shows that timeless masterpieces live on. Like a great film will live on, and new generations will discover it. Thank God you're here teaching these kids, because or else if they're not knowing about Hitchcock, oh my gosh, I can imagine if I didn't know about Hitchcock. Luckily, I knew my parents taught me about Hitchcock, so luckily I was, whether or not I was going to learn about it at school, it didn't make a difference because I learned about it at home. But Yeah, luckily I did. I did at school though too.
Thanks to our parents, right? Like they gave us that stuff that a lot of kids our age probably had no idea about, right? Like
yeah, and I think it was something at least for my parents. It was like, my mom especially, like she wouldn't, I wasn't allowed to watch any rated R movies, or any like really scary or bloody movies, but I could watch Hitchcock movies because they were still, they were all PG essentially. I mean,
that was
I
the
think
exception to the rule.
Yeah,
I think Psycho said R on the Blockbuster tape, but I don't know if that was the real rating or if it was just years later what they slapped on it.
Right? Yeah. I just think I don't think it. I don't because PG-13 definitely didn't exist.
Right. It was only PG or R back then, right? So no G, PG, or R, right? I don't think there was any PG-13 at the time.
Yeah, no, there definitely was because PG-13 was Indiana Jones. It's kind of bugging me right now. Let's find out.
It's also like Jaws being rated PG, right?
It doesn't really.
There's some pretty gruesome stuff in that movie.
Oh yeah, so it's rated R. It is rated R, huh?
But it's weird because it's like I feel like if it was made today, it would be rated like PG-13
it'd be PG-13.
You don't see the violence at all. It's all implied.
Look. So Parents Guide, IMDb. Anyone aged 10 or older should be able to watch this movie.
They said that about Psycho?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're living proof of that, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I think we watched it. Yeah, probably right around then. Yeah, I think.
Look how brilliantly we turned out.
That's right. We turned out great. We turned out fantastic.
We all get a little mad sometimes.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. No, it's good. It's good to show them the classics, and it takes a bit more of. With our cinema, with our new movies coming out, taking a little bit of the old and making a little bit of the new in there, like that whole mix, bringing in.
Yeah, and when they have that knowledge of like classic cinema, it makes them more discerning and really better connoisseurs of what's actual, what can be great cinema or great art or just be able to form their own opinions on that stuff better in a more critical way.
Yeah, totally, and it's not some freaking going back to Marvel movies. All right, it's not something where it's like I feel like Marvel movies they're made to, okay, at least the time being you're entertained, your eyes are stimulated, right? But when you leave, what else do you get from it?
Yeah.
Do you get anything from it? No. Exactly, you don't get anything.
No, I think a lot of times it depends because I know there are some that I was like, oh, I was thinking about that after, but a lot of times it is, with escapist movies, right? It's a lot of times like it was just fun in the moment rather than you're thinking about it for.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah, which is fine. Yeah. So you said that Scorsese's amusement park, right? Are you with Scorsese or what do you feel like when it comes to that?
I feel like, first of all, that man is a god of cinema. So he has, if that's what he has to say, he has the right to say whatever the F he wants, and no one should be canceling him or saying stupid stuff about him online because he expressed his opinion. Like, first of all, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but especially Scorsese. So
yeah. Oh, totally.
That's one thing, right? And then, but the other thing is, I think a lot of what he said was misconstrued by a lot of people. Like he really what it came down to was like he didn't actually disparage Marvel movies. Like what he really did say was that there's a lot of incredible technicians and artists who are involved in making the films and great actors in there, and that it just wasn't for him, and he felt that it wasn't the type of cinema that he grew up on, and to him it felt more like an amusement park, like it felt more like a fun ride, which he said can be enjoyable, and he just felt like it didn't give him any kind of deeper nourishment or anything more to chew on artistically.
Which he's completely spot on with that, dude. I mean, like, dude, for me, it's like, if I were to say, like, screw this movie, you're not going to get anything out of it. You know what I mean? Like, that's like,
That's the thing. It's like, I think it speaks to a lot of our cancel culture and this and that happens a lot nowadays, where it's like, oh, it's, we take a little clip of what he said and we misconstrue it. But when you really look at what he was saying, it's quite like he was just expressing his opinion and he was being very polite about it. And he's great.
And of course, media construe. They're like the media want to construe thing. Oh, like I think I saw one headline. It was like, Martin Scorsese blasts Marvel movies, yeah. It's like calling something an amusement park ride isn't necessarily blasting, you know what I mean?
No, of course not. Well, I think it even sadly, I think even probably some celebrities just saw that clickbait and probably I think some of the big celebrities that are in those movies thought it was real because they were like,
oh, I think like, yeah, the ones that were in, like, yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking, like he's getting old, he's an old timer, get out of here. Like, I'm sorry, I don't give a crap what Mark Ruffalo says, okay? Like, Ruffalo, look, he's not a good Hulk. I'm sorry, you're not a good Hulk, Mark Ruffalo. That guy's I can't stand. I don't know. Sorry, Mark Ruffalo. If you're watching it, which you probably are, right?
Well, Mark Ruffalo is great, though. Wasn't he in Shutter Island? But it's weird to think of.
Yeah. He was better in that movie. I'm still not a big fan of him. He's okay. He's like a low budget Bill Paxton. I feel like, Paxton was way better. What he does, and Ruffalo is just kind of an idiot. Anyway, okay. So sorry, Mark Ruffalo. I hope you're fans of him. But
Hulk on you now, dude.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. There goes my movie career. No, I mean, we're all entitled to our own opinion, But like, look, I'm gonna listen. Who am I gonna listen to? Am I gonna listen to if someone talks about a movie? Are they gonna? If Mark Ruffalo says something, am I gonna listen to it? Or or if Martin Scorsese says something that is the opposite of that, whose side am I more likely to be on?
Yeah. Well, I think Scorsese. It's crazy because the guy is like, I want to say like 76 or something, like,
yeah,
and something like that, and he's so eloquently spoken. When you watch interviews with him, he really is really thoughtful, and he's very polite and a gentleman about everybody he speaks of. He never speaks ill of anyone, but he.
There I go. I'm just speaking ill of all these guys. So now I feel bad.
Sorry, Mark.
Sorry, Mark Ruffalo. No.
Sorry, no. But like what I mean is, the guy is, he's in his 70s, and I find it kind of crazy that he still should have to, sometimes fight tooth and nail to make sure that people understand what he is saying. It's like he has earned his right with all of the classics that
the headline should have been like, Martin Scorsese weighs in on the state of Marvel movies. And look, Tarantino hates Marvel movies too. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, yeah. But I mean, Tarantino's, I guess, he's more,
the two of them are really funny because they're my top two favorite directors, and they're both very similar in a lot of their style, but like the way they speak. There's a great interview with the directors who were nominated for the Oscars in 2019, and it's the first time I ever saw the two of them in a video together. I don't know
wow.
If you saw this. It's
yeah, I did. Yeah.
It's really fun because like you can tell they're respect for each other, but you can tell they're different personalities. Scorsese being all like, like the wise, like sweet, grandpa, the king of cinema, who's very modest,
Yeah.
I think there was one point where they asked like, about timing and deleted scenes and stuff like that, and Tarantino was like, well, I didn't have 3 hours like Marty did over here with The Irishman. Okay, and then just like laughing.
Well, that's funny. Like these guys, like they tease each other. I'm sure like they tease each other. I was reading a book. My friend Mario has this book. Shout out to Mario, my good friend Mario, who from San Diego State. Mario Glaviano?
Yeah. I think we were almost gonna work together on a project back in the day. Maybe it was something to do with bullets way back in its infancy.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, anyway, so he has this book about dude, the book is about like that, like kind of like the film Rat Pack. Like it was Scorsese, um, Spielberg, Spielberg, George Lucas. So who's the Scarface guy?
Brian De Palma.
Brian De Palma.
Yeah,
De Palma. Yeah, I think Tarantino. I think maybe no.
He was like
No, maybe not Tarantino. No.
So he came like a little after.
Yeah, he's a bit after. No. But those guys, it's like the Rat Pack, and it was like Spielberg and Lucas talking to each other, and Scorsese, and wow, it's crazy. Like
I would love if you could send me the link to. I'm gonna get this book.
Dude, you love it, man. You'd love it, and it's like an inside look at it's so cool. I mean, there's bits about where Spielberg was when he was making Jaws, where Lucas was when he's making Star Wars, where De Palma was when he was making and freaking Francis Ford Coppola when he's making The Godfather, and like The Godfather was gonna they thought The Godfather was gonna flop. All these things, you'd love it. I'll ask Mario.
One of the dreams for me is I know one day we can make this happen, I think, and put something like this together. To me, what they had going on there, and these fresh filmmakers, like what they were doing, thinking outside of the box, outside of the mainstream, and being these creative artists who all grew up together and inspired each other, and then starting American Zolotrope, I think it's called, Francis Ford Coppola's company, where they all were able to kind of help each other out and work together. I was like, nice. That's like what we're trying to do, with in our collection of our other great friends who work on all this stuff together.
Totally, yeah.
Yes, doing a Zolotrope,
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, and they'd like give each other feedback. They had screenings together. They'd like fly each other out and to have private screenings at their thing. And
I love that too. Just thinking of the rough cuts of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Masterpieces and stuff. Like,
I guess De Palma went off on George Lucas after seeing the first cut of Star Wars.
Oh,
there's like a really interesting story about that.
It was like, was it true that it was the effects were super unpolished?
There was no effects in there. Yeah.
Like, what is this? Like,
yeah.
Thing. Like, I heard that Scorsese also, the two of Brian and Scorsese were both like didn't think it was going to work, and they didn't know how to tell their friend. I think that
they were both, dude. They were both like that. And then you know what Spielberg said? Spielberg goes, I think you're going to gross over $100 million on this movie.
Whoa, Spielberg was the one.
He was the one that knew it, dude. He knew it. And of course it grossed way more than, it's but back then $100 million was unheard of, for a movie to gross.
Insane.
Gross it.
That probably way surpassed Jaws, right? Like,
oh yeah, it did. Yeah. So that, and Jaws broke all the records, right? When it came out. So that's just so interesting, man. It's so funny. It's interesting thinking about that. And then when it was after, I think that was like after they made Star Wars, I think he was in Hawaii. Was he in Hawaii? He's like, oh, he got so worked up. He's like, oh, I don't care. He's like, I don't even care. Like George Lucas is like, I don't even care about the results or whatever, which of course he did. But then he's like, oh, I'm going to go to Hawaii. And then he's like, he kind of didn't want to go to Hawaii because then, but he's like, oh, I said I was going to go to Hawaii. So he went to Hawaii, and then he heard all this buzz about Star Wars and like how lines are at the door. People went nuts when that movie came out. People went nuts. So, instant mega hit. So
he heard it from afar.
Yeah. Like he got getting a call, and then I think Spielberg came and flew out with him, and they hung out in Hawaii, and they were like playing in the sand, and then they were like, that's where they thought of the idea for Indiana Jones. So it's like crazy. Isn't that crazy?
That is totally crazy. Wow. That's so crazy to think that something that became such a sensation that was something he didn't even know 100%, and then just being off somewhere else when it happens.
Right.
Hearing that, it's like, wow, that's crazy. It's also kind of like the I don't know if they talked about the taxi driver story. Did they talk about that? It's the
no. Maybe they did. I didn't read the full book, but
it's a pretty crazy story. Apparently, the MPAA was going to rate Taxi Driver an X because of the violence at the end, and when De Niro shoots everybody.
Yeah.
And Scorsese showed the rough cut to Spielberg and De Palma and all of them, and they all had a screen. And he had been staying up all night drinking and possibly on cocaine or something.
Yeah.
And
he talks about there was a lot of cocaine use that he did. Yeah.
And he was out of his mind, pissed. And he was like, I've cut together my masterpiece. They're going to slash it with an X. No one's going to watch it. I'm going to kill the person at the MPAA who's trying to do this. And they were all like, Marty, like, you kill somebody. He's talking like one of his characters.
Yeah. Like, keep the killing it.
And they're like, no, like, calm down, and apparently then something happened where Scorsese got the inspiration, where he thought about like an old movie that had desaturated color, and he thought about the desaturation of the red, and he said, what if we desaturate the color and of the blood at the end to make it look less gory and less realistic, and maybe I'll try that instead of killing him. And so they desaturated it, and it was all good, and they gave it an R rating, and it was always just like a Hollywood legend for years, until a recent interview with him and Steven Spielberg, when they were interviewing each other as older men. And finally, like, Scorsese let someone really tell the story for real. Like, Spielberg was like, can I tell that story about back in the day? And Scorsese was all embarrassed. He's like, oh God, yes, go ahead, tell him the taxi driver story.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Dang, that is crazy. Well, that is the thing. I mean, I'm sure that's something that, at that level too, they're like, everything's heightened up. Like, imagine where we're at, but everything, like, let's say when you get the $10 million, that's real pressure, dude. That's real pressure, and then getting slapped with a rating. And I forget there's another story. I think Spielberg, was it Spielberg? I believe it was Spielberg and The Godfather. I could be wrong, but it was like someone that was some like MPAA guy, or it was or it was some like executive at the studio or something that was like, the what?
You mean with Coppola?
I think so. Yeah. And they wanted to change the title. I think they're like, they wanted to change. Shoot, I should find out what that is real quick. It's worth knowing. I
know they had a problem with the title of Godfather 2. Because there was never, they didn't do 2 back then. I think they wanted to call it like Michael Corleone Returns or something, like. Yeah.
I forget what it was, but yeah, we'll have to figure that out. But it was basically like some executive said in this thing, he was really serious that, we're not going to, do this unless you change the title or whatever.
Whoa.
And then Spielberg sent in a letter and was like, oh, hey, John, John, whatever his name is. Hey, John, executive, we got your joke. Everyone thought it was hilarious. Like I told everyone, like, just basically pass it off as a joke.
That's so funny.
And then the guy just like didn't say a word after that. So
that is amazing. Wow.
Yeah, so
it off as a joke. That is hilarious.
Yeah, like Spielberg's really genius when it comes to all that stuff. I mean, that Spielberg is like, and that's the thing about Spielberg is like, I know they're all competitive in their own way, but I don't think Spielberg really is, because like he's at such a level where he knows he wants to see good movies himself. So, and he wants to see his friends succeed, So, and he's a big Hollywood power player, so he can push some buttons or pull some strings, and
he's very very humble. Like he's very like, he always is happy for his friends, and as they're making their movies, and he's making his films. And there was even an interview, I think, where he had said he always called himself styleless, that he always felt like he envied the people like Marty or people like Hitchcock, who have a very quintessential like style. Whenever you watch it, it's one of theirs. And he said he always felt like he could adapt other people's work, but that he didn't have a trademark style. And I thought that was really interesting, because it's like, I mean,
He does. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he has complete trademark style. Yeah.
He totally does. But I just thought that was interesting. That's the way he views himself, which to me speaks about how humble he is. That we're all like, of course he does, but like that's the way he views himself, you know?
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, I think a lot of people, no matter how good they are, how great they are, they're always kind of like their most harshest critic. You know what I mean? Like, like Rodney Dangerfield, I guess, would he'd like to be telling these jokes, and then everyone would be laughing. And then he'd be at the end, he'd be like, "Well, how'd I do? Were people laughing? Did they like it? Did they like the jokes?" So he was always like second guessing himself and like making sure, like trying to validate from other people's. And that's so crazy thinking about it, because someone that's that funny, that gets that kind of laughs, like, is still very self-conscious about all of it.
Yeah, totally. It's crazy. It's like the there's that what was it? The Kinko's, I think, commercial where Scorsese is like critiquing his own work, and he's like, "Where's the lighting, the shadows? What have I done? Like, what is the framing? What is this?" And then it's revealed that it was like a birthday party. He's like, "Hey kid, you want to have your birthday again?"
Oh, that's funny.
Like, that's what we do to ourselves, right?
Yeah, no, totally, man. Yeah, it is. I think it's good to have some level of criticism, but at other times you just have to like let things kind of go. Like do the best you can, but at the same time, once it's done, it's done. It's got to get out into the world.
Exactly. So. Well, I know a lot of the great directors don't like to watch their own work. But how do you feel about that? Because I can't imagine. I love rewatch. Sometimes I'll go back and just rewatch Bullets. Like, it's really fun to watch it for me. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah. So I'm So the Rideshare premiere, I was so nervous. And like, I was having a great time or whatever, and I was so nervous. We started the movie and I hadn't sat down yet. I'm not watching the movie. I'm like, I don't want to watch. I don't want to go in there. I don't want to watch it. I'm so nervous. All these eyeballs are watching it, And then it was about 15 minutes in, or 20 minutes had gone by. And like, we had PBR sponsor the premiere. So shout out to PBR. They were freaking awesome. They sent us like trucks of beer. We had so much beer. It was crazy.
That's great.
It was so cool, man. It was really awesome. And I'm out in the lobby, and I'm like, what do I do? And then I'm like, gosh damn it, you pansy, like, how many times are you going to be able to have a chance? This is me talking to myself. How many times are you going to have a chance to watch your stuff on the big screen premiering your first feature film? And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to get in there. And I got in there and I watched it. I freaking loved it, man. And
good for you. That's awesome.
And the audience reaction was gold, dude. It was like, man.
Laughing at all the right spots.
Like, yeah, creeped out, like grossed out. Like, I remember, I'll never forget the Hawaiian hula doll.
Yes.
Yeah, like when Jason
one of the best parts.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so when Jason licks the doll, everyone was like, "Oh!" And I was just like in my chair. I'm like, yes. Like that's the
moment.
Isn't that the best feeling in the world? Like when there's a moment that you really, you want people to be grossed out by that part, right? Like, as it
them get into it too, and just hear that guttural reaction to it. It's great. Like,
yeah, it's so amazing. Yeah, so no, that there really is nothing like it being on the big screen.
That's the best. That is totally the best experience for sure. I'm always more worried about technical stuff, like will the projector work properly, or the DVD. I'm more worried about that. Like the art, I'm kind of like, okay, it is what it is, and I think they'll love it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, that's wow. That's real. So you're like, oh, because maybe the projectionist is going to screw up, or maybe the sound
or the sound or something.
Dude, I did a 48-hour film festival years back, and like, never again from the person that ran it. He did a really hodgepodge job. It was just like so
like
bad.
The Grindhouse movie. It was like
it was like, dude, the like none of thing is not like some and part of it was like, it was one of those things where everyone gets accepted to the 48-hour film festival. So there were some really bad films. Like, but that's how it is in a lot of film festivals. Like, typically if there's 20 movies, maybe 2 are watchable and maybe 1 is good.
Yep.
It's just kind of how it works.
Totally.
Yeah. So, anyway, I mean, I sound pompous, but that's just how it was. And like,
It is true, though.
it's true. Yeah. You experience
films. It's like student films.
It's exactly it. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing. So yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. And like technical, I think they had to stop for a while and stuff. And like, I brought family and friends out there, and they made this trip. Yeah, but it was a great theater where we were. It was a Crest Theater, massive. It seats 1,000 people in Sacramento.
Whoa, that's awesome.
That would be a sweet place to screen a movie, like when everything's back to normal.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the rates are insane though for that theater, but I don't know how he I mean, the guy that put it on, like, definitely is good at what he does in terms of organizing people, getting people together, but there was a technical level of just technically was very amateur hour,
Yeah, and that's always interesting is like, as the more movies we make, I think it's like as we work with all the really great people that we work with and stuff, we all kind of learn what we're good at and what we're not. And I think that's always, there's all those growing pains experiences when you're starting out and you're making movies and stuff. And it's like, maybe so-and-so is really great at this, like you said, organizing and doing that. And maybe they realize, hey, I should never project anything again, like, I'm not gonna do that again, but I'm good at this part, and so it's always like finding everyone's niche. And if you're lucky enough, you have a team where everyone plays off of each other's strengths really well, like that's the team that I've been working with for Neighborhood Watch, like Matt Stoner, Jaron Hall, Jay Powell, all the producers. Everybody has a different thing, and everyone represents in a different way, which is really incredible. Everyone really builds off of each other's strengths and holds each other up. So that's always super important, is just finding that great team. Shout out to those.
Shout out to the team. Shout out to the team. Yeah. So coming full circle, Neighborhood Watch right now. Contribute to the Indiegogo. Maybe I'll make a little contribution, Matt. You're welcome. And then, yeah, you're welcome. And share it. We'll share it too, and help spread the word. If you can't contribute, that's totally cool. You could always share it. Do it in, take a couple taps of your phone, share it, help this movie get made the way it should be. It's very timely. It's got action. It's got. Well, you tell them, Matt. It tackles big social issues, but in a message of hope. We're talking.
Yes, I'm glad that you said that, Tremaine. I guess that's how I'd like to wrap it up. Is just it's so important to me that this movie is a message of hope. That it's a film that anyone on any political side, any political spectrum, any color of their skin, any creed, whatever. Anyone could watch this movie, and I think in general agree with the themes and what we're trying to talk about, what we're trying to say, and could see their own viewpoints reflected in some way, and could come out of this with a smile on their face and a sense of hope that we can unite in these times where there's so much division. Really, that's ultimately what it's about. These kids, they have different colors of their skin. They've been through different experiences. By virtue of that, they've experienced very different things, and yet they all come together to unite to try to spread a message of hope as superheroes. And that's on a macro level what we're trying to do with the movie. So,
all right, you guys, let's all unite and spread the message of great film and great cinema. Okay. So Matthew, this has been a pleasure as always, man. You're the man. Where can anyone and everyone find you? In the movie?
Yeah, everyone can find me, of course, on the Indiegogo link, which is below. You can find my YouTube from that trailer video as well, so you can please like it.
Subscribe there. Yeah, there you go.
Ring that bell.
Post notifications on, you guys.
Yes, please. And there, you can find our the Instagram for the movie at Neighborhood Watch Movie. at Neighborhood Watch Movie on Instagram.
At Neighborhood Watch Movie on Instagram. Awesome, man. Well, thank you guys so much. If you guys like this video, click that like button. If you want to see more videos like this one, click that subscribe button, hit that notification. Who else should I interview next? Leave that in the comments below. Are you a filmmaker that wants to be interviewed? Get at me at Tremaine Hayhoe at Hayhoe Studios. Really easy to talk to. Thank you so much, Matt. You're the man. Always great talking to you. Oh, you're the man. You're the man. You're the man. You're welcome. Okay. All right, man. Well, this has been awesome, and I will stop the recording. Okay. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.